Hey, I'm Colin,
And I'm Chris.
and this is episode 14 of You Enjoy Ourselves.
All right, welcome everyone. It is my turn to present, and I've got a fun one today. Shout out to a student that I've been working with for a long time, maybe like 8 years or so at least. Mike, part of his weekly program, he's been working on we kind of set him up on helped him set up a weekly practice routine, and part of that was transcribing and learning solos, which I always think, obviously, that's a lot of what we do, and there's a ton of value in that. Anyway, so this today is going to be something he was working on. He works really hard on it. I helped him with some stuff, and another shout out is in order to Brendan. I've mentioned before this guy Brendan that I've known for a while now. I work with him one on one. He's also a member of the course that I run. He is a software developer, and he made a looper, and it's called the Elevated Music Looper, and it's awesome. So now he has the capability to play video inside the looper and loop video footage. So you can see, oh, what's Trey doing or whatever. I'm not going to have video today, just audio, but I'm going to share my screen, and it'll be his.
That's really cool to see,
It,
to be able to see hands, fretboards,
yeah.
and loop that, because yeah, oftentimes it'll cut away and you have to go
Yes.
back and all that or whatever. But cool.
Okay, here it is.
Hey, if you're enjoying the podcast, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to both of our channels, hit the bell for notifications for upcoming episodes, and if you want to work with either Chris or myself directly, go over to Chris's website, Elevated Improv, or give me a call or shoot me an email. All of that information will be in the description of this video below. Thanks.
It's going to be the guitar solo for Soulshine, Allman Brothers, Warren Haynes. I've always loved this guitar solo. It's so soulful, and it's got some really tasty pentatonic kind of wizardry going on. So just to set the scene, it's going to be in a B flat kind of major pentatonic slash minor, and we'll get into that as we go. Cool. Yeah, right on. I actually first heard this song. It was a New Year's Eve, going into the year 2000. It was called "With a Little Help with Our Friends" or something like that. Double disc, great, great CD. They had a bunch of
I
special
love
guests come
Warren,
on.
man. Government Mule was it was just always fun to go see them out in Oregon. Anytime they would come by, I would see them, and the power trio was
They
fantastic.
were rockers, man. And I don't know, I know Warren still play. I don't know if they still, I think they're still doing stuff. In fact, I think I just saw a clip of them playing with an orchestra. At any
Oh,
rate,
cool.
that was when I first heard it, when they would do it, because I'm pretty sure he mostly wrote it, Warren Haynes. I think. It's somebody, somebody
Hmm.
could correct me if I'm wrong on that. But at any rate, yeah, this was technically Allman Brothers. And anyway, what are your first impressions of the solo so far? Anything that jumped out at you?
I'm curious about the bends,
Yeah.
how close they are to last week's episode. Especially that if we're planting our pinky on the first string, like we talked about before,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
that
Oh yeah,
that kind
there's
of
a lot of
bend.
that.
Yeah. Sometimes really great blues players make you think that they're playing something that's not like in a blues box, and I kind of got a little bit of that today, which is nice. It's like it like doesn't sound like pentatonic, or doesn't sound like blues, minor blues scale, which it probably is, but sometimes it just, same way like Jimmy did last week, like he'll play something
Yeah.
that's like, oh, that's in that box, but it just sounds so so melodic, or so like a different instrument, or non-musical thing. But
I'm gonna play the first section again, I'll put it at like 75% or 80% or so. It's not a super fast solo. I'll put it at 80%. And then I'm going to pull up the tabs. I have tabs for this. So I'll put it at 80. We'll go section by section. You guys can probably see I've got 4 sections here. And there's a couple things, there's a guitar that gets overdubbed in, and they kind of like almost like crossfade. So I just had to make a choice on like when to bail on the first one and go to the next one. And we'll get there when we get there. Basically, I'm going to go to, if you can see, right from the beginning to this 13 over here. Here it is. Let me go close up. And what I would do in terms of positioning is go up to like, here's our B flat on the 11th fret. And that'll be kind of our home bass. So we're going to go. And you're right, these bends, right away you get this really great bend up, bend down, bend back up. One thing about his sound though is he's like perfectly flat. like he leaves a little longing. Like he doesn't fully give it to us. Like what I just did was probably a little too on the nose. It's more like
So you hear that? By flat you meant in pitch, yeah? Like just,
I meant pitch wise. Yeah. Like he's beautifully just short of the like it leaves something to be like, I don't know, there's a little feeling you get with that instead of like I would always I think, I don't know about you, but bending, I would always err on the side of like I'd rather be a touch flat maybe than overshoot it.
No, it's just like turning the ignition in a car. You don't want to go too far, right?
Yeah. So that again. I would just do the first slide with the middle finger. Okay, now here's the thing we talked about last time with the pinky. I would just go. I thought that was a cool little lick. I don't really do stuff like that. That's why I love learning other people's solos, because it kind of unlocks different creative things. So from this bend. Okay, pinky on 13 of E. Now he's going to hit that. Which is such a cool little sequence. Okay, now this is my favorite part of this beginning sequence. That 14th fret is like the minor third. Now before I do the lick at the end, that's very, very cool. Well, that was all very cool. But let's talk about like this bend from the minor third to the fourth has become like one of my favorite moves in blues, the blues kind of realm. One lick, maybe one of these times I'll break it down on one of our sessions. There's a Chalk Dust from 95, I think it's New Year's Eve 95, that I transcribed, and Trey does this really cool, that's a different key, but if I were doing it in the same key, it'd be... He does this really cool lick doing a similar thing. So at any rate, I love the sound of that minor third going up to the fourth. But one thing I want to draw attention to immediately with that sound, we had this 13th fret going up to the major third. This kind of... And a lot of times when you hear people talk about mixing major and minor pentatonic, it doesn't have to be that complicated. It could be as simple as just like one note changing can really be the entire difference of... In fact, I think a really cool sound is keeping everything else major, like the sixth and all that stuff in there, and doing a minor third is kind of a cool way to go, like having... that kind of thing. Now that lick right there, part of the magic is that little quarter. A quarter is the smallest bend they'll let me put there. I would even probably put slightly less. And it's delayed. And then this I put it as like a triplet sweep. I'm doing really more than that, but so like da da da. So I'm going to play that whole little section.
That's nice right there. That
is, yeah, a little rake, a little grit in there. Yeah. So again, here, let me play that again. and a lot of vibrato. Now up to 14. Now picking up on this, I'm going to start on measure 4. Let me scroll up here so you guys can see where I'm at. Right here. He started out in major pentatonic realm, you know. Not realm, but he's just choosing those notes. Now he comes down to your more classic kind of bluesy area for B flat minor pentatonic. So that's one thing right away that's kind of cool is he went from that major sound, now he's on the minor sound, and I'm pretty sure the chord being played at the time is the 4th. So that's a little kind of listening exercise, is like a lot of times in the blues, when you get to the 4 chord, like in this case in E flat, it's kind of cool to play it as a minor pentatonic, because a lot of times that E flat is a dominant chord and it'll have the minor third of your tonic in there. So anyway, so we're gonna go. And then he does a bend, or he's bending up, and then on 13, a little tap. Now, the reason I'm pretty certain that that's what's happening is because you can hear this continued sustain. And if he had, like, instead of, like, you could play that note right here really, really close, which would be really cool. Like, you could be... But I feel like you would hear an artifact of leaving the string, or there would be a little evidence of that. I'll play it again in a second, but I'm not a big finger tap guy, but I really like this. This is like, I love it. Kind of reminds me of Tweezer, you know, like, yeah. And it's a similar kind of situation where that's a cool sound, man. It sounds like a vocalist a little bit. Like I could hear like a blues singer doing a thing like that. Almost like a yodel. It's like a bluesy yodel.
And it kind of you know resonates with what you were saying earlier about, you know, not the flat part, but the it's not showing. It was on the last page where you said
yeah,
where it was that quarter step bend.
Yeah.
But you said it was like, it was either that one or the next one. I forget which one, but you said it was like, I think you were implying it was at the end of the duration.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So very like prolonged, like that sense of which, you know, kind of ties into, you know, tension and resolve, leave people that wanting more, feeling like you were saying, that
100%,
that
man.
lick. Similar thing. It's just very like, oh, it's almost there. And then yeah. Pretty much time for the next bar or whatever. Yeah.
And actually, to your point here, and really, you know what, man? I've never even, I'm not a finger tapping guy. Like, it's not part of my repertoire, and I don't even know how to write out a finger tap in the music. So this 13 right here is actually, see how I have it tied here? Really, I suppose the proper thing would be this all on the and of 1 should be 1, you know, it's one sustained thing, but I just put it, you know, the tap happens on the and of 3. So to your point, he really makes us wait a long time in that measure before we get that feeling of relief, because we're bending up to the 5th there, and it's like, oh, we need a little resolution. We need the plane to land here.
Yeah, that's interesting that you said. I'm not sure. Well, I think there's a tap like text that I can put. But like in Sibelius, but I don't do any tapping either. Occasionally I've had to do some stuff like that.
How would you have written that part? Well, I was like, I don't know how to write this any other way.
I like that you have, at least you're indicating to the player, hey, you're still in a full bend, you know, because that A flat at the top, 13th fret, it's really a B flat, what's sounding. Right. So I would probably want to see that pitch. I don't know. I'd have to mess with it for a minute. It would probably be a note that said, you know, right hand tap, and then if you could manipulate that A flat to a B flat, but then still keep the 13. I don't know if that your program allows you to do that.
No idea.
Sometimes it's really difficult to do that in Sibelius. That kind of stuff. It's not. For like super intricate guitar techniques, but
Yeah. So here's that whole
Yeah,
like
give me.
measure 4 and 5 again. So you go. That is so slick, man. My sleeve is kind of killing the note there, but at any rate, that is the first section. Now, that part's where the other guitar is going to loop in. I actually want you guys to be able to hear that at 100% because there's a point I want to make about the feel here that's very distinct. So here it is again. This is 100% though. Okay, now did you pick up on the beginning of that? Let me play that again. There's something that actually Mike, the student I was talking about that transcribed this, he picked up on this too, and he couldn't quite put his finger on it, but we talked about it, and we'll get into it as well. But listen really close to the first, like, let's say like 4 notes or something. Did you catch that? So
I'm not sure. The obvious is the he's anchoring with that F or whatever, but you're talking like a rhythmic thing.
yeah. So
No,
here it is again.
over my head. I'm not sure.
So right there in that first lick that you just played, he took the swing out of it. Da 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 da. And then he goes back ba 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 ba. Then he goes back into the swing. And Mike was like, man, the feel is so different right here. I'm like, good catch, man. He played it straight on.
Nice.
And it gives it it gives it a little punchy attack, and it contrasts it because it's so simple of a little melody. Part of the beauty in it is that the feel is so different. So one of the takeaways here is you can really impact the feeling of it. Even if people can't put their finger on what it is, it's kind of cool anyway. So here it is one more time. Listen to the first, like, I think it's like 4 notes or something. And then ba 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 ba. Then he goes back to swing.
Right, and it's more of a lazy swing, laid back feeling behind the beat when the first 4 are very much ahead of the beat. But
yes,
yeah. I see. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's going to be like my cutoff point to the next section. I couldn't quite when I looped it. I could have fine-tuned it a little more, but I wanted to include that 15 right there. That's going to be another pinky kind of move. So at any rate, we're still going to be in this first position of the minor pentatonic. And one other benefit of that finger tap thing, by the way, is we can keep our left hand in position and then get right into this next thing. So it's like... You hear that, and then da 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 da, and then we hop all the way back up to kind of where everything kicked off with the solo. And then it's one of these deals where you're kind of going from the 5th bend to the 6th, which is really cool. So that is the second section, which is really probably the shortest part of the whole thing. I'm going to keep it moving unless you had something you wanted to add to that a little bit.
No, I was just experimenting myself with the because you got me thinking about, which I never used to think about, those that because you pointed out when I flattened the bends or whatever with that 3rd finger, so I just tried it with
Yeah,
when I did the flattening out, it almost made it, probably because I just usually do that kind of flattened out bend, made it easier for me to reach that pinky, that 15.
I was about to say, man, your technique on that would be really optimal because then you can delegate. In case somebody didn't see the last episode, and if you didn't see it, go back and watch it. But Colin, could you go close up?
So if we're at 13, instead of planting my pinky on 13 on the high E and then using my 3rd finger, Whoops. I just use the third finger and then flatten it out during the bend. But I think I have less control if I wanted to like release it or something like this.
Oh,
If I
gotcha.
wanted to sustain the other one, like I have less control with it. But doing this thing that you just did or showed on the reaching up to that 15, I think it was a little easier because I hadn't used my pinky at all. It was free to start that other move or whatever.
I want to try that like you're doing it. Oh, that's hard. Okay, so yeah,
like at the end of it, it seems a little bit easier,
Yeah.
but I mean,
yeah. I'd have to I'm so like it's so habitual at this point for me. Like it'd be good for me to try it like that. That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
It's, I had never seen anybody do that before last week, so that was a cool like little bonus little bonus technique.
fun that wasn't even meant to be I do this a different way or anything. It's just just like you said, habitual. I've somehow taught myself that way, and
You're just being yourself, man.
it's something I've been doing for years.
Here is the third section over here. So the main theme of the second section was just like playing with your feel, playing with swing, playing with taking swing away or whatever. Okay, here's the third section. Listen to those bends. I want to play that one more time. That was cool. Couple things I really like here is that he's going to leverage some of that. Remember that thing we did a minute ago? Like that sort of like classic bluesy thing. We're going to do that now, but what happens is we shift it down to G minor because the bridge is playing a G minor at that time, and so we don't perceive it as B flat major anymore. We feel like, oh, that's a straight up like minor pentatonic because the G minor chord. So at any rate, right after where we left off with that cool bend up here, now we're going to hop down the new, either the overdub or the new guitarist, whoever it is coming in on 5. Oops. We're including this little thing, so he's going to do this. So just know that's coming after what I'm about to do. I'll recap that again from this this bend right here on 5. Let me see. So much style in there, and my favorite part right there is again that minor 4 coming in. You can tell right at that point. Leading up to that, we kind of went back to more of a B flat major feel, and then they're on the E flat again at that point, and so now throwing in that minor third really gives it that classic bluesy sound like over a 4 chord, which is kind of what's happening right here. But the other thing I wanted to draw some attention to, and let me get rid of that highlight, is also, not only do we have swing versus no swing and, stuff like that playing with the feel, but I love the fact that he has these choice moments of triplets that are just, and a lot of times they're coming on the, those kind of, the Chuck Berry or whatever we decided we'd call that moving forward. Those are really cool for triplets. They're cool straight up as well, but there's something about them that sounds really especially awesome with triplets. It's just part of that classic blues sound. And let's see here. And then it just kind of closes out with some more of that pentatonic stuff. I do want to come up to here. Well, I meant to highlight the 12, but this thing where we're like, that kind of slow burn up. And then he's going to 13 after the 14. So he's like 14. And it's really a dramatic lift up from that 2 up to the 3rd, which is really cool. And then we kind of cap it off this section with this little thing. Well, clearly I'm not good with the highlighter, but right there, then we're going to get into the kind of final push here. But anything hopping out or jumping out at you on this stuff here?
Just great use of a simple scale and to tell, great expression, or to portray or demonstrate great expression, and that's what the blues is all about.
100%, man. I think that's actually that's a great way to say it. It's a very expressive solo. It's getting a lot of mileage out of simplicity, in the end. Now, I should be careful how I say that, because even though the scale itself is simple, his intonation, vibrato, his bending, not so simple.
Mastery, yeah.
Mastery, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to diminish him at all, because like when I was trying to play along to it, matching the exact timing of those bends and the vibrato is very difficult. Kind of like when you were trying to do that Jimmy stuff last week, and it's like you can get what the lick is, but getting it to sound like his voice is really something. And I'm not saying we should like aim to copy those guys, but by learning, we're going to end up tweaking their sound anyway. So by learning their thing, it helps us find our own voice, and it's well worth the pursuit. Like there's some solos I think that are worth learning all the way through, and I would say this is one that's really worth it. It's only like a minute long, and there's so many gems in it. So anyway, it's simple but not easy.
If I can add on that, I agree with that. You don't have to transcribe every solo from A to start to finish or whatever. Sometimes it's good to just lift little sections or whatever. You can kind of like get into the mind of the soloist, how they created it. And that can come across of not just like, here's a lick, here's a lick, here's a lick, we put it all together, but like, how did you expand upon things? How did you wait? Where were the rest? Like kind of, zoom back and look at it big picture kind of thing.
As much as we may want to have some of Trey's DNA in our playing, and we will have it, but there's only one of him. There's only one of Warren. There's only one of Derek. There's only one of these guys. And we can have a little bit, just like your parents, like I'm sure you have some inflections and some tone that you share with both your parents, but then you have your own voice, I'm sure, and that's how it is, man. There are Guitar Hero parents.
Yeah. The other thing is you mentioned Chuck Berry in that, that first box or whatever position, minor pentatonic. Those are Chuck Berry licks, right? And it's one of the first things I noticed, but I didn't speak up about it, is that it's so good that a modern day player is still preserving that style from the 50s through, somewhat simple, playing on the I think it was up in the G minor area when they went to the 6th chord or whatever, but
yes,
it's good. Like he's preserving that style, and it's anyway. Oh, nod to Chuck Berry for sure.
Okay, let's get into the last section here, which kind of ends with a bang. It's really cool. Here we go. Oops, I didn't mean to hit it again. Okay, cool. That is going to start out with this 13 kind of bend we've been getting into a lot, with that either pinky finger or the flattening. We're going to patent that the Colin Ward flattening special, or we'll come up with some kind of name for that. But we have this kind of... That's a really cool little that's like a little ism in blues, like a little like trilly or like a little triplet right there. I don't know, like I feel like that comes up in like Clapton's playing a lot, for
Oh
example.
yeah, that's Layla, isn't it?
It's a lot. It's the same kind
Similar,
of.
similar.
It's the
Yeah,
same,
very
yeah,
similar. Yeah,
that same zone, and it does have. It has a lot of that Layla feel to it, but in this case, he's going. It's just kind of flipped around a little bit, so you start on 18 and go like that. So let me actually. I'll go back a little bit. So again, here 13. Now, one of the points I wanted to make there is that this kind of stuff he's doing here, by coming up here, it's the same trick. That's the cool thing. He's taking these little tricks and moving them around in really creative, unique ways, and it just sounds a little different. Like you can tell there's something familiar about it, but it doesn't feel the same because where it is. So from this. Okay, now he caps it off with this really dramatic thing way up here. Now on a Les Paul, this is kind of getting dicey up here. I'm running out of room, but I figured I got to have the Les Paul. So then it's going to be. And just really tasteful bends and stuff. So this thing way up here on 20. I can't remember if I've mentioned this before, but my piano teacher and really music mentor, Chris, he really stressed to me a long time ago. He's like, man, if you're trying to build a peak of a solo, try repeating, a note or have something that builds excitement through repetition. And I feel like that this is a master class in that. Like when he's reaching up for this high note, so kind of a classic, peak building move to go really high, but then just that da 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 da. It's kind of subtle, but by repeating it, I do feel like there's an excitement and it's dramatic because it's repeating like that. And then this last lick. That's a classic like Allman Brothers kind of thing. So, oh no, yeah. And that's when it kind of tapers back into the chorus and he starts belting out, and it's very peak, like it's a very dramatic climax to the whole thing. So I think in a lot of ways it's a
that note he's repeating is the B flat, right? He's hitting the one. A lot of times I'll tell students who have been playing minor pentatonic their whole life, and they always start on the B. If they're in a B flat, they'll start on the B flat and they'll end on a B flat, and there'll be a lot of B flats in there, right? And it's just a thing that I learned a long time ago when I started some jazz playing. They're like, "Well, avoid the one. Just play any note in the scale or every note in the scale, but the one or whatever." But on my journey, I learned along the way this very tool that Chris, your piano teacher, told you that give the audience, like, reward them at the end of the solo. And yeah, if it's a repetitive thing, I think nursery rhymes. I just think simple. If it's just even one note, like Trey does that all the time. Like there's Kuroda with the lights, and then it's just one big peak note, and everybody loses their shit. But
think of like a Harry Hood, da, da, like, well, I don't know what I'm singing there, but like he's just like, even like a little before, before he goes to that thing, he'll just like rage on one high. That's a
D. It might be the fifth. It might be the one. Yeah.
Sure. So it's either like that high A. Yeah.
But what's cool is avoid the one, not always. Is what I was going to say at the end, like Warren does. Like, give it to them. They've earned it. You've put them through all this. There's plenty of ones in the stuff he was doing before. But as far as like you were saying, like staying there for a little while to. Yeah.
You're right. I mean, there's definitely he's playing the one, but he's more targeting the thirds. Oftentimes. And like with those bends and stuff like that. So I think there is a great payoff, and it's really simple at the end. I like that it's not like this crazy shredding thing. It's still very soulful, very expressive, and I feel like it was the perfect landing. Like, talk about landing the plane. He really he brought it home in like a really perfect way. So anyway, I hope people enjoyed that. I think it's really a good, worthwhile solo even if you're not a huge Warren Haynes fan or whatever. I think there's something in there for everybody. He's got such a great blues language to his playing. Again, the vibrato, the bends, the intonation. Like, I can't stress that enough. There's something magical about the way he takes his time on the way to a note, and maybe doesn't fully give it to you. Like, it's like a little juke out kind of deal. I think there's a lot of value in that. So thought this would be a fun one. Again, shout out to Mike, who worked really hard on this one, and something to be said for just grinding it out. Took him a few weeks to kind of get through a lot of it, and I think it's worthwhile, man.
Great pointing out that difference in the straight versus swing too on his part, to be like, there's something
that was
different
really
about
cool.
Yeah.
It kind of flew. I wasn't very much paying attention to it, but once he was like, man, there's something really different here. And I was like, holy crap, you're right, man. He took the swing straight out of that thing, just like 4 notes out of the whole thing, and it has this really cool impact. So, don't sleep on the feel. You can change the feel. That's a cool takeaway. But anyway, man, looking forward to what you bring to the table next time. Thanks for hanging with us, guys. Leave us suggestions. We've had a couple fun ones coming in. This was a fun one today, and
Thanks everybody for watching. Take care.
See you guys.